More analysis. We're joined the from Resriz from Poland by Ms. Kamila Zarychta Romanowska, Professor of EU Law and Security Studies. Good
Good
evening to
evening.
you. Good evening to you. And welcome to Qnews. Let me start by asking you, Trump delayed the 50% tariff on EU goods after a call with Ursula von der Leyen, describing it as very nice. Was this merely a diplomatic pose to avoid escalation, or do you think Trump is signaling openness to a real agreement?
This is a great question because it seems like this is something between tactical pause and opening for agreement. This delay, this action is not just a strategic pivot, it's a tactical maneuver. President Trump's decision to postpone this 50% is a high-stake attempt to extract concession through control and predictability, in my opinion. It's neither concession nor de-escalation, it's a leverage, and Mr. Trump knows how to use it very wisely and very smartly, I would say. This move is emblematic of Trump's personalized transactional approach. By emphasizing that this call was very nice and suggesting that the EU is now responding to his demands like China, Trump is creating an optics-driven pause intended to extract faster concession without fundamentally altering its hardline stance. We have to take into account that delay gives the EU narrow but still available window. We must use it not only to coordinate internally as a European Union and as European countries, but mostly to stabilize externally. This is essential for Europe and EU to seize the moment to reassert itself as a credible, constructive actor. It has a lot of opportunities. So we have to ensure that our response must be firm, not provocative, united, but flexible, really a diplomatic artwork. Because in the truth, the trade war is no one's interest, not America's, not Europe's, not the world's, not in the global economy in that context and the realization of sustainable development goals. We are all too linked economically, technologically, socially, to view the coping as anything but a lose-lose. The task now is to convert tactical calls into strategic dialogue, and that can only happen if both sides come to the table, not seeking submission, but solutions.
Well, the European Commission has reiterated its 0-for-0 offer on industrial tariffs. Now, how strong is the EU's current bargaining position, given definitely economic interdependence and the political pressures on both sides?
Well, this is another extremely important question because we have to see it from an executive side. The 0-for-0 proposal on industrial goods is more than economic offer. It's a geopolitical test of Europe's autonomy and its regulatory soft powers. It's as well a strategic depth because while the EU remains the US largest trade partner with two-way trade of $1.8 trillion, its ability to negotiate from position of strength is complicated because it's structurally asymmetric in executive capacity, and there is sectoral imbalances as well as Trump's consistent disregard to WTO legitimacy. We need to acknowledge this asymmetry. The US administration acts swiftly, often unitarily. The EU, by necessity, moves through consensus. This is much slower, but in the eyes of many, a more legitimate way. What truly strengthens our hands here is the quality and depth on this interdependence. Because let's have a look. European investment in the US is a vast issue. American firms rely on European inputs in the sectors from aviation to automotive, and particularly in pharmaceuticals and medical devices, where Europe is a global supplier of essential components and technologies. Still, we must recognize quite painful truth. Europe has a strategic dependencies, notably in active pharmaceutical ingredients, APEs, rare earths, and advanced semiconductors. Any disruption to our access as Europe or export of this from the US would risk real shortage with human consequences. Thus, we negotiate from the position of strength, but also urgency And we must translate it into urgency into diplomatic momentum, but not a fear. So it has to be really well acted.
Thus, the French president here, Macron, called for returning to lowest possible tariffs, while Meloni, at the same time, is trying to arrange a high-level summit. Are EU leaders united in their approach? How can they strengthen the bloc's leverage in negotiations?
That's a really good question, because we can see here that European Union rarely speaks with one voice, that's for sure. It can move with one will, and that's important as well. Leaders differ in tone, but not in the principle. All agree that trade war must be avoided. This is something which is common. Europe must speak with coordinated force, and then retaliatory measures must be prepared but not rushed. The strengthening of the leverage Europe must, to strengthen it, Europe must clarify non-negotiable sectors like pharma, aerospace, critical raw material, build cross-party support across the European Parliament and member states, engage with US Congress and showcase multiple costs of tariffs. And here we still have this new love, let's say, a new friendship between Mr. Trump and Ms. Meloni, who was supporting him all the way, and this slightly cool-off period of bromance, as they say in the US, between Macron and Trump. Clearly, we must conduct this diplomacy on two levels, the technical and political. European negotiators from the Commission must hold the line on the content, while leaders like Macron, and he's still, I would say, still quite warm relation with Trump, and Miss Meloni, with much better relation, and in the end as well, the head of the European Commission, they should engage in symbolic high-level diplomacy. Trump liked to and wish to be recognized. I think that maybe something which will be really a cherry in the bottom of the cake would be the realization of the for Trump idea. It's mostly the NATO issue, but making for Trump giving him a symbol of let's say appreciation would really help.
Right. That was Ms. Kamila Zarychta Romanowska, Professor of EU Law and Security Studies. We thank you so much for your insights.